the shofar? You can blow it anytime I'm going on the air.
We love the shofar.
I feel like the rapture's about to take place. But we've got some great questions we're going to find some great answers to today.
Yes, we
because
are.
the one and the only Irvine Baxter is here with us. Dr. Irvine Baxter.
What an honor.
Surely one of the great anointed prophetic teachers.
Amen.
I believe he's a prophet. I don't know what his titles all are, but I know he's the founder and president of End Times Ministries, and we're just thrilled to have you here.
Thank you for being here.
Such a privilege to be here. Thank you very much.
If there's ever a person that's a gift to the body of Christ, this man is a gift to the body of Christ, as I believe.
Thank you very much.
And you even have school in the Holy Land every week. You just fly back and forth, huh?
Well, actually, we have a college in downtown Jerusalem.
Yes.
Right on Jaffa Street at the intersection of Jaffa and Agrippa.
Oh, my!
And
those are in the Bible.
Our college is on the 12th floor of the Clow building. And I have an office. I look out my window and I see the Temple Mount.
Oh.
And I see the Mount of Olives.
Oh, I love it.
Amazing. Oh, my man.
And every time I get ready to leave to come back here, I think, why am I leaving this office to go back to where I have my office? But anyway, yes, we do have a college in Jerusalem. We have people attending there. It is incredibly exciting. And I do teach them every week, twice a week, from our campus in Plano, Texas.
Oh.
We have the ability to speak to them, even with no sound delay at all. I see them, they see me. So it's a wonderful privilege to do that.
Oh, that is amazing.
That's exciting.
Now, you founded a magazine called End Times Magazine in 1991.
Yes, there's a little story behind that, Jim. I had produced a book and published it in 1986, which stated the Berlin Wall would come down.
Yes.
And the two Germanys would be reunited, and that would be the beginning of the New World Order. Well, that was published in 86. On November the 9th of 1989, the Berlin Wall did come down.
Yes.
The two Germanys then were united, and 20 days after the wall fell, George Herbert Walker Bush, Mikhail Gorbachev, and Pope John Paul II met together, and they came out of those meetings announcing the birth of the New World Order. Now, I knew it was coming, but 20 days later, I was stunned. And now the day the wall fell, my phone rang all day long. How did you know this? Where is this in the Bible? What's going to happen next? So it's been and that's really what motivated me to start End Time Magazine, because I knew that was the beginning of the end time, and that God's people needed to have something that would keep them updated on an ongoing basis.
People are going to wake up and they're going to find out they've been lied to by a lot of people. They've been lied to that you're not going through anything. You tell that to the people in the Mideast right now. You tell those who have been killed by the thousands and thousands and thousands that have been burnt, that have been hung on crosses and been burnt in cages. Do you think we're not going through anything?
Pastor Jim, I've got to tell you what happened with Paul Crouch, because I felt like God spoke to me to build a television studio in Dallas.
Yes.
And I did. And by the time I was done, I was up to my eyeballs in debt.
Yes.
And I was talking to the Lord one day, and I said, Lord, I couldn't buy an hour's television time right now to save my neck. What? But I was sure you told me to do this. What's the deal? And within 2 or 3 weeks, a couple of businessmen called me into the side room. One of them looked at me and said, I'm putting you on Daystar, and I'm paying the entire bill.
Wow.
Now, the other ones looked at me and said, I'm putting you on TBN, and I'm paying the entire bill.
Wow.
Now, that's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
So I knew Marcus and Joni Lamb at Daystar because I'd been on their program quite a number of times. So it was pretty easy to get on there. Nobody at TBN knew me. Nobody. And I knew nobody. So we started making phone calls. We started knocking doors. Nothing. Zero. It was like a block wall. And so I called our staff into my office. I'll never forget it. I said, we know God's provided the money. It's God's will for us to be on. He's got to open a door. And we had prayer that day in my office. It was 3 days later that our phone rang, and my daughter Kara took the phone call.
Where's Kara?
And said, the lady said, this is Paul Crouch's personal assistant, And Paul saw Irvine Baxter on an interview last night, and he wants him to be a guest on his program. Well, Kara, as you've met her, she is.
Yeah, I love her.
She comes across as calm and collected, but she's not really. So she said, well, let me check his calendar. And she put the lady on hold, twirled 3 times in her office, and then took it off of mute and said, yes, I think he can make it.
Wow.
So 3 weeks later, I'm on my way out to Santa Ana to be on the program. And I sat down out there in Paul's very glitzy and beautiful reception area. I was with Dr. Joe Vancouvering. So Paul came down to meet us. I'd never met him before. And he said, well, he introduced himself. We introduced each other. And he said, well, we're here to talk prophecy today. He said, I'm assuming you're both pre-trib. And Dr. Joe said, oh, yeah, I'm pre-trib, definitely pre-trib. I said, I used to be. And Paul's ears went, zoom, just like that. And I knew what we were going to be talking about that day. Well, we did.
Yeah.
And we talked about it until I was almost embarrassed, frankly. But anyway, I gave him the scripture. He just asked me, why did you change your mind? And I said, because I found the Bible conflicted with what I believed. I had to either change the Bible or change what I believed.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
Go on.
And by the time we got done with the program, the cameras went off. Paul turned to me and looked at me and said, you got a television program? I said, yes, sir. He said, I want you on my network. Boom. I'm talking about a prayer that we'd prayed just a couple of weeks before. God just blew the thing wide open.
Wow.
It was a wonderful
And
miracle.
I want you on my network.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it very much.
I wanted to, because we have the Prophet Network, and this man is a prophet. And I'll tell you what God has done. God always tells prophets to do stuff without any money. Then he provides the money, and then he provides the miracles. And then there's still, you need another miracle next month or next year, right?
Next day.
Next day.
Right.
Next day.
Yes.
And
that's right.
I believe the key in the last days is going to be the church coming together, being together. What do you think?
Jesus said that was his whole mission coming to this world. He said, upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
Amen.
And you know, Jim, I've been in church all my life. My parents were ministers, and I used to think, okay, the gates of hell, that's scary. They're after me. You know, I've got to avoid the gates of hell. Right. One day it dawned on me, the gates of hell gates don't move. Gates don't march. Gates hold people in. And the church is supposed to be assaulting the gates of hell. And the gates of hell will not be able to prevail against the church. This last day evangelistic thrust, we're going to bust open the gates of hell for everybody that wants to get out. They're going to get out because we're getting ready to have the greatest harvest the world's ever known.
Yes, amen. We believe that.
We will be right back after this